The Council mocked humanity's weapons until the first shot. Part 1. First Contact. Daniel Green straightened his uniform one last time before the massive doors to the council chamber slid open. Behind him stood 5 other humans, each representing different aspects of Earth's unified government. The air felt thick with tension. "Remember," Daniel whispered to his team, "we're here as equals, not supplicants." The chamber beyond was vast, circular, with raised platforms arranged in concentric rings. Each platform held representatives from different starfaring species. Daniel counted at least 30 distinct alien forms, some vaguely humanoid, others utterly foreign to human understanding. At the center, on the highest platform, sat 7 beings, the High Council itself. The tallest among them, a blue-skinned Centaurian with 4 arms and elongated head, raised a hand for silence. "The human delegation from Sol System may approach," announced a translator device. Daniel led his team forward, keeping his pace measured despite the gravity adjustment making each step difficult. The humans took their place on the lowest platform, marked as Provisional Species. "Ambassador Daniel Green of Earth," he announced himself. "We come seeking peaceful relations and mutual exchange." A ripple of what might have been laughter moved through the chamber. The Centaurian counselor leaned forward. "Earth, 3rd planet of an unremarkable star. How interesting that you've managed space travel with such limited technology." His voice carried what translators rendered as condescension. Another counselor, a small insectoid being, chittered. "We have reviewed your technological capabilities. Your vessels still rely primarily on combustion and nuclear fission. Most council races abandoned such methods millennia ago." Daniel maintained his diplomatic smile. "We are young compared to many here, but eager to learn." "Indeed," the Centaurian said. "And to join this council, there are standards to be met. One such standard is disarmament of primitive weapon systems. Energy-based defensive systems are the only acceptable military technology among civilized species." Daniel frowned. "With respect, Counselor, Earth maintains its sovereign right to self-defense. With projectile weapons." The Centaurian's translator couldn't hide his mockery. "Your ships still fire metal objects at high velocity. You throw rocks, while we control the fundamental forces of the universe." The chamber erupted in sounds that the translators rendered as laughter. Daniel felt his face grow warm, but kept his voice level. "Our kinetic weapons suit our needs." "They're barbaric," interjected another counselor, a gaseous entity contained in a floating sphere. "Rail guns, coil guns, missiles with chemical propellants. These are not the weapons of a species ready for galactic society." The Centaurian raised his upper set of arms. "The Council proposes this. Humanity will be granted provisional status. You may establish colonies in 3 systems adjacent to Sol. In return, you will begin immediate disarmament of all kinetic weapon systems and accept Council technology advisors." "That's unacceptable," Daniel replied firmly. "We cannot compromise our security based on the preferences of those we've just met." The chamber grew quiet. "Do humans understand their position?" the Centaurian asked. "You have barely left your solar system. Your fastest ships take years to reach nearby stars. Your weapons—" He paused, mandibles clicking in what seemed to be amusement. "Your weapons fire metal. Very fast metal, but merely metal nonetheless." "Our weapons are effective for our needs," Daniel insisted. "Against pre-spaceflight threats, perhaps," the insectoid counselor chittered. "Our ships are protected by energy fields that can deflect solar flares. What threat could your very fast metal possibly pose?" Daniel looked around the chamber, noting the dismissive gestures and postures of the assembled aliens. "I hope we never have to find out," he said quietly. The Centaurian's translator rendered a sound like a scoff. "Provisional status is our final offer. Accept these terms, or return to your world and wait another century before applying again." Daniel exchanged glances with his team. They had expected resistance, but not this level of condescension. We accept provisional status, Daniel finally said, but Earth will maintain its current defense systems until we have reason to believe they are truly obsolete. The council meeting concluded with Earth officially recognized, but heavily restricted. As the human delegation departed, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that the council's mockery of human weapons would someday be remembered very differently. The council mocked humanity's weapons until the first shot. Part 2. Rising Tensions. Captain Olivia Martinez stood on the bridge of the UES Vigilant, watching the stars through the main viewport. 3 months had passed since Earth accepted provisional status in the Galactic Council. The restrictions chafed like poorly fitted boots. "Captain, we've got another boundary violation," reported Jason Hill from the communications station. Celtorian scout ship crossing into New Eden's orbit. Olivia sighed. This marked the 5th incursion this week. Standard hailing procedure. Remind them of the boundary agreements. The Vigilant patrolled the edge of human space, all 3 systems of it. The Council had been clear. Humans could claim Sol, Alpha Centauri, and the newly settled New Eden system. No further expansion until humanity matured sufficiently. "They're responding," Jason said, surprise evident in his voice. Usually, the Celtorians ignored human communications. The main screen activated, showing a 4-armed blue alien with an elongated skull. "Human vessel, your presence is noted. We conduct scientific surveys only." "Your survey crosses into human territory," Olivia replied evenly. "Please withdraw to council space." The Celtorian's upper arms made a dismissive gesture. "The council determines territories, not lesser species. We go where science demands." The transmission ended abruptly. "They've activated scanning beams," Patricia Wells called from engineering. "Military grade, not scientific equipment." Olivia frowned. "Record everything. We need evidence for Ambassador Green." Later that evening, Olivia reviewed sensor data in her quarters when Jason requested entry. "Captain, I found something in their transmissions," he said, his face pale. "I've been working on breaking their encryption, and I finally got through." He placed a data pad on her desk. "These aren't survey ships. They're mapping our defenses, cataloging population centers, identifying strategic targets." Olivia studied the decoded transmissions, her stomach tightening. "They're planning an invasion." "It gets worse," Jason continued. "I intercepted communications between their fleet and representatives on the council. The council knows what's happening but isn't stopping it." The next day, Olivia transmitted their findings to Earth. Ambassador Green presented the evidence to the council, only to be met with dismissal. "These are standard scientific protocols," the Celtorian counselor claimed. "Humans misunderstand advanced technology and assign malicious intent where none exists." Other council members nodded in agreement. Only the Andraxian representative showed concern, privately approaching Green after the session. Back on the Vigilant, Olivia called her senior officers to the ship's conference room. "Earth's official orders are to maintain our patrol and avoid confrontation," she informed them. "Unofficially, we're to prepare for the worst." Patricia Wells, her chief engineer, leaned forward. "Captain, I've been working on something. The Celtorians think our railguns are primitive, but they've never seen what they can really do." She activated a holographic display showing modified weapon schematics. "I've reconfigured our main railgun. It now accelerates projectiles to 15% of light speed, far beyond standard military specs." "Is that even safe?" Samuel Powell, tactical officer, asked with wide eyes. "Theoretically," Patricia said with a slight smile. "The energy requirements are enormous, but I've rerouted power from non-essential systems." Olivia studied the modifications. "This could rupture half the ship if it misfires." "True," Patricia admitted. "But if those Celtorian ships attack our colonies, we'll need every advantage. Their shields are calibrated for energy weapons, not hypervelocity impacts." For 2 weeks, the Vigilant continued its patrol while Patricia secretly upgraded their weapons. The Exaltorian incursions increased in frequency and duration. Then, at 300 ship time, the emergency channel blared to life. A desperate voice crackled through static. "This is New Eden Colony. We're under attack. Multiple Zeltorian warships have opened fire on our settlement. We need immediate assistance." Olivia straightened in her captain's chair. "All hands to battle stations. Set course for New Eden, maximum speed." As the Vigilance engines roared to life, Olivia opened a channel to Earth. "This is Captain Martins. The Exaltorians have begun their invasion. We are responding." The Council's mockery of human weapons echoed in her mind as the Vigilant leaped toward the stars. The Council mocked humanity's weapons until the first shot. Part 3. The Ambush. The Vigilant dropped out of faster-than-light travel near New Eden, alarms blaring across all decks. Through the main viewport, Olivia Martinez watched 4 massive Zeltorian battlecruisers in orbit around the human colony. Energy weapons lashed down at the planet's surface. "Status of the colony," Olivia demanded. "Shields at 30% and failing," Jason replied, his fingers flying across his console. "They report heavy casualties in the outer settlement." Olivia's jaw tightened. Where are the Council peacekeeping forces? They should have responded to the distress call. "Message from Council Central," Jason said. "They claim they're processing our request for assistance. Estimated arrival time of Council ships is 18 hours. 18 hours. Samuel Powell looked up from tactical. "The colony will be ash by then." Olivia nodded grimly. "That's their plan. Send a message to Earth Command. We're engaging the enemy." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The Vigilant was a patrol vessel facing 4 warships. "Tactical analysis?" Olivia asked. Samuel studied his screens. Zeltorian vessels have energy shields calibrated against standard weapons. Their hulls are reinforced with material unknown to our science. He paused, then added, "But I found something. When they fire their main weapons, their rear shields weaken for 3.2 seconds. "Not much time," Olivia mused. "Enough for a railgun round," Samuel suggested. Patricia Wells spoke up from engineering. "Captain, our modified railgun is operational, but we only have enough power for 2 shots before systems overload." "Then we make them count," Olivia decided. "Battle plan. We appear to retreat, drawing them away from the colony. When they pursue, we target the lead ship through their weak point." The Vigilant accelerated toward the Zeltorian fleet, then veered away as if fleeing. As Olivia predicted, 2 of the battlecruisers broke formation to follow. "They're hailing us," Jason reported. The screen showed a Zeltorian commander, his blue skin darker than others they had seen. "Human vessel, power down your systems, and prepare to be boarded. Your colony has violated Council regulations." "What violations?" Olivia demanded. "Those are civilians down there." "Unauthorized technological development," the commander replied. "The Council has determined humans are advancing too quickly. You will be restricted to Earth until properly re-educated." Olivia cut the transmission. "It was never about violations. This is about keeping us contained." "They're powering weapons," Samuel called out. "Execute evasive pattern Delta," Olivia ordered. The Vigilant rolled and dove, barely avoiding the energy beam that sliced through space where they had been. "Distance to optimal firing position?" Olivia asked. 30 seconds, Samuel replied. "But we'll have to time it perfectly with their weapons discharge." The ship shuddered as a glancing hit struck their armor. "Shields at 62%, Patricia reported from engineering. "Another direct hit will breach them." Olivia gripped her chair. "All power to engines. Samuel, prepare the railgun." The Vigilant surged forward, dancing through enemy fire. The lead Zeltorian ship grew larger on their view screen. "They're charging their main cannon," Samuel shouted. "Position?" Olivia asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Almost there. Almost." The Zeltorian ship fired, its massive energy weapon lashing out toward a section of the colony. The power drain was visible as a ripple through its shield array. "Now," Samuel yelled. "Fire," Olivia commanded. The Vigilant shuddered as the railgun discharged. Patricia's modifications turned what was already a powerful weapon into something never before seen in galactic warfare. The tungsten projectile, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, crossed the distance in milliseconds. "Direct hit," Samuel exclaimed. Their rear shields collapsed completely. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the hypervelocity round punched through the Celtorian ship as if it were paper. The energy of the impact converted to heat and pressure, tearing through decks and systems. Secondary explosions bloomed along the warship's spine. The 3 remaining Celtorian vessels halted their attack, clearly shocked by the destruction of their lead ship. "They're retreating," Jason reported, disbelief in his voice. As the Celtorian ships fled, Olivia opened a channel to the colony below. "This is Captain Martins of the UES Vigilant. Help is coming, and someone make sure the Council gets the full recording of this battle." For the first time, humanity had shown the galaxy what throwing metal really fast could truly accomplish. The Council mocked humanity's weapons until the first shot. Part 4. The First Shot. Silence filled the Vigilance bridge as the crew watched the Celtorian flagship break apart. Where once floated a mighty warship now drifted scattered debris, glowing with residual heat. The remaining 3 enemy vessels had pulled back to a defensive formation, their weapons powered down. "What just happened?" Jason asked, breaking the silence. Allison Carter, the ship's science officer, studied her readings with wide eyes. The railgun round hit their ship at approximately 15% of light speed. At that velocity, the kinetic energy was extraordinary. "Their shields didn't even slow it down," Samuel observed. Allison nodded. "That's the fascinating part. Their shields are designed to disperse energy weapons, lasers, plasma, particle beams. But our projectile wasn't energy-based. It was just matter. Very fast matter." Olivia opened a channel to the colony below. "New Eden Settlement. This is Captain Martins. What's your status?" The response came through with static. "Captain, this is Governor Frank Wilson. Eastern District is heavily damaged, but casualties are lower than expected. Your timing saved us. Medical teams are standing by," Olivia assured him. "We'll send help as soon as we're certain the Celtorians won't return." Patricia's voice came over the intercom from engineering. "Captain, the railgun modifications overloaded several systems. We have enough power for one more shot. Then we'll need extensive repairs." Olivia acknowledged this information just as Jason called out, "Captain, I'm receiving multiple transmissions. The battle was broadcast across all Council channels." "What?" Olivia turned to her communications officer. "The colony's automated defense satellites recorded everything. Someone routed the feed to the Council's open network. Every species in Council space just watched a single human vessel destroy a Celtorian battlecruiser with one shot." Samuel grinned. "Throwing metal really fast, indeed." The main screen flickered to life, showing the Andraxian representative who had shown concern during the earlier Council meeting. The gray-skinned, slender alien appeared agitated. "Captain Martinez, the Council has convened an emergency session. Your actions have complicated matters." "Our actions," Olivia replied, keeping her voice level. "The Celtorians attacked a civilian colony without provocation. We defended our people when the Council failed to respond." "Yes, about that." The Andraxians seemed uncomfortable. "Evidence suggests certain elements within the Council deliberately delayed the response to your distress call. This information has also been made public." Allison approached the captain's chair. "Captain, I've completed preliminary analysis of the weapon's effectiveness. The Celtorian shields operate on a completely different principle than our barriers. They create a field that disperses energy across a wide area. But our projectile had no energy signature to disperse. Olivia concluded. Exactly. Allison confirmed. It was simply mass and velocity. Their shields were like trying to stop a bullet with a fire hose. The Andraxian on screen had been listening. This is most disturbing. Your primitive technology appears extremely effective against our most advanced defenses. Perhaps that's why the Centaurians were so eager to have us disarm, Olivia suggested. The Council is receiving reports that the remaining Centaurian vessels have left the system, the Andraxian informed them. Ambassador Green has presented evidence of their planned aggression. The Council vote is split, but many are now questioning Centaurian motives. 6 hours later, the Vigilant remained in orbit around New Eden. Relief ships from Earth had arrived, bringing medical supplies and repair teams. Olivia sat in her ready room, reviewing damage reports when Jason called her to the bridge. "Captain, you need to see this." On the main screen was a council broadcast. Representatives from a dozen species were openly arguing. The Centaurian counselor was conspicuously absent. In his place stood Ambassador Green, calmly addressing the assembly. Humanity did not seek this conflict, Green was saying, but we will always defend our people. Perhaps now, the Council understands that dismissing others as primitive is not only arrogant but dangerous. The camera panned across the Council chamber, showing many representatives nodding in agreement. "Things are changing," Olivia said quietly. The first shot had done more than destroy a Centaurian ship. It had shattered the Council's complacency, and humanity's position in the Galactic Order would never be the same. The Council mocked humanity's weapons until the first shot. Part 5. Council Deliberations. The Grand Council chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations gathered for an emergency session. At the center of the controversy stood Ambassador Daniel Green, his posture straight and composed despite the chaos around him. "Order," demanded the Andraxian chair, using a resonating tone that immediately quieted the chamber. "This council is now in session to address the Centaurian aggression against human settlements and the unexpected defensive capabilities demonstrated by human forces." Daniel took his position at the speaker's platform. Behind him stood William Foster, Earth's military advisor, who carried data tablets containing battle footage from New Eden. "Esteemed council members," Daniel began, his voice steady. "For months, we brought evidence of Centaurian boundary violations and hostile intentions. This body dismissed our concerns. Now we have lost 37 civilians to an unprovoked attack." The Centaurian representative, not the same one who had previously mocked humans, but a hastily appointed replacement, rose from his seat. The human colony was developing restricted technologies. "What technologies?" Daniel asked. "Medical facilities? Agricultural systems? Or do you simply find any human progress threatening?" William activated a holographic display showing the decoded Centaurian battle plans. These orders were issued 3 months ago, long before any supposed violations. The attack was planned from the beginning. Murmurs spread through the chamber as council members studied the evidence. The insectoid representative chittered loudly. "This confirms Centaurian dishonesty, but it does not explain how a single human patrol vessel destroyed a battlecruiser with one shot. Technology you claimed was primitive." Daniel nodded to William, who displayed footage of the railgun impact. "We never claimed our weapons were primitive. You assumed that because they differ from yours." William stepped forward. "Human kinetic weapons operate on straightforward principles. We accelerate mass to extreme velocities. The Vigilant's modified railgun fired a 15-kilogram tungsten projectile at 15% of light speed." The gaseous counselor's containment sphere bobbed agitatedly. "Such weapons are barbaric, unsophisticated. And yet," William replied calmly, "completely effective against your most advanced shields, which are calibrated only for energy weapons." The chamber erupted again, some representatives speaking over others. Daniel noticed several members huddled in small groups, casting occasional glances toward the human delegation. The Andraxian chair called for order again. The question before this council is twofold. What consequences will the Xaltorians face for their unprovoked aggression, and how do we address the human weapons situation? An elegant, avian-like representative rose. The Veltran Confederation proposes an alliance with Earth. Their defensive capabilities complement our own. Others quickly followed with similar proposals, creating an unexpected bidding war for human cooperation. Daniel observed with careful neutrality as former critics suddenly became eager partners. The replacement Xaltorian representative pounded his four fists on the table. Humans must be sanctioned. Their weapons violate the spirit of Council technology guidelines. Which guidelines specifically? Daniel asked. Please cite the regulation prohibiting kinetic weapons. The Xaltorian fumbled through a data pad but found nothing. There is none, Daniel continued. You simply assumed your way was the only way. A dangerous assumption, as recent events have demonstrated. The Andraxian chair called for a vote on the Xaltorian sanctions. To Daniel's satisfaction, the overwhelming majority voted to censure the Xaltorians instead, restricting their fleet movements and requiring reparations to New Eden. As the session concluded, Daniel found himself surrounded by representatives who had previously ignored him. Now they offered trade agreements, technology exchanges, and security partnerships. An aged crystalline being approached Daniel last. Known as one of the oldest council members, its translucent body pulsed with inner light. Ambassador Green, its translator conveyed, today marks a shift in the council's power structure that has remained unchanged for 2,000 years. The Xaltorians have dominated through fear and technological superiority, until now. We did not seek to disrupt the balance, Daniel replied. Perhaps not. The crystalline being's lights flickered what might have been amusement, but sometimes the greatest revolutions come from simple ideas, like throwing metal really fast. The council mocked humanity's weapons until the first shot. Part 6. Diplomatic Revolution. Commander Nicole Garcia stepped off the shuttle onto New Eden's soil, leading a mixed team of humans and aliens. The council had finally authorized an official investigation team, 3 weeks after the attack. Better late than never, she thought. Welcome to New Eden, Governor Wilson greeted them. His left arm was in a sling, a reminder of the colony's suffering. We've preserved the impact sites as requested. Nicole nodded. Thank you, Governor. The council needs to see exactly what happened here. Behind her stood representatives from 7 council races, including an Andraxian scientist, 2 Veltran security specialists, and others who had broken ranks with the Xaltorian-dominated factions. Conspicuously absent were any Xaltorian investigators. This way, Wilson led them toward the Eastern District, where buildings stood damaged or destroyed. The first strikes hit our medical center. The Andraxian scientist's translator conveyed distress. A medical facility. That violates Council war protocols. The Xaltorians claimed it housed weapons research, Wilson replied bitterly. It was a children's hospital. Nicole watched the aliens carefully document everything, their earlier skepticism fading as they examined evidence of deliberate civilian targeting. The Veltrans recovered fragments of Xaltorian weapons designed to maximize casualties rather than structural damage. These are banned by Council law. One Veltran noted, holding up a metal shard. These dispersal patterns are designed to wound rather than kill, maximizing suffering and medical resource expenditure. Nicole's communicator beeped with an incoming message from Earth. Ambassador Green's face appeared on the small screen. Commander Garcia, how goes the investigation? The evidence is overwhelming, sir. The Council team is documenting clear violations of 13 separate galactic laws. Green nodded. Good, because things are moving quickly here. Several Council races have approached us privately about military cooperation. They're particularly interested in our kinetic weapon designs. Nicole raised an eyebrow. The same weapons they called barbaric a month ago. Precisely, Green smiled. Chief Diplomat Rodriguez is handling the negotiations. The Council is fracturing along new lines, those aligned with Seltorian interests and those who see advantage in alliance with Earth. That evening, Nickel hosted a dinner for the investigation team in the colony's repaired community center. The mood had shifted from formal diplomatic caution to something approaching camaraderie. In 700 cycles of Council membership, the Andraxian scientists said, "My people have never witnessed such a rapid shift in power dynamics." "We never sought power," Nickel replied. "Only respect and the right to defend ourselves. Yet you now have both." A crystalline being noted, its lights pulsing in what Nickel had learned to recognize as amusement. "Half the Council races have requested your weapon designs." "And the other half?" Nickel asked. "They request your weapon designs secretly," the being responded, generating laughter around the table. 3 days later, Nickel received new orders from Earth. The investigation findings had been presented to the full Council, resulting in unprecedented sanctions against the Seltorian Empire. More significantly, humans had been granted full Council membership and rights to settle 5 additional star systems. Commander, Eric Rodriguez's message stated, "Your presence is requested at Council headquarters. You've been named Human Security Liaison to the newly formed Galactic Defense Initiative." When Nicole arrived at Council headquarters a week later, she found the massive complex transformed. Where once the Seltorians had dominated the security forces, now a diverse mixture of species worked together. Human officers consulted with alien counterparts, sharing expertise and technology. Eric Rodriguez met her in the Grand Atrium. "Welcome to the new Council, Commander. You're just in time for the vote." "What vote?" Nickel asked as he led her toward the main chamber. "The restructuring proposal. After centuries of Seltorian dominance, the Council will now be governed by a rotating leadership, and humanity has been nominated for the first chair position." Nicole stopped walking. "That's impossible. We just joined." Eric smiled. "That's precisely why. We've demonstrated we can defend ourselves without Council help, which makes us the perfect neutral party to lead reforms." As they entered the chamber, Nickel saw Ambassador Green at the center podium, addressing hundreds of representatives. The Council mocked humanity's weapons until the first shot. Part 7. New Galactic Order. 1 year after the Battle of New Eden, Admiral Olivia Martinez stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned UES Defender. At twice the size of the Vigilant, the Defender represented humanity's new place in the galaxy. Through the massive viewport, she watched as ships from 12 different species performed joint maneuvers. "Quite a change from last year," said a voice behind her. Olivia turned to see Ambassador Green approaching, his diplomatic uniform now bearing the insignia of the Galactic Assembly leader. "Mr. Ambassador," she greeted him with a smile. "Or should I say Assembly leader now?" "Daniel is fine," he replied, joining her at the viewport, "especially for the woman who fired the shot that changed everything." They watched as a Veltran cruiser practiced defensive formations alongside human vessels. Their sleek energy shields now incorporated deflection angles specifically designed to enhance protection against kinetic impacts, a direct result of human tactical input. "The joint fleet exercises are going well," Olivia noted. "The Andraxians have fully integrated our railgun technology into their defense systems." Daniel nodded. "And we've adapted their energy weapons to our ships. The hybrid systems are proving more effective than either technology alone." Below them on the training deck, human officers taught alien counterparts about ballistic trajectories while learning about advanced shield harmonics in return. What had begun as technological exchange had evolved into true cooperation. "Any word from the border?" Olivia asked, her tone more serious. Daniel's expression tightened. "The Seltorians remain isolated in their home systems. Our intelligence suggests they're rebuilding their fleet, adapting their shields to counter kinetic weapons. They won't stay contained forever," Olivia observed. "No," Daniel agreed. "But when they return, they'll face a united front rather than individual species they can intimidate or isolate." A small alert chimed on Daniel's communicator. "The assembly session will begin soon." Will you join me? The vote on the expanded colonization rights is today. As they walked through the station's corridors, crew members from a dozen species nodded respectfully. The humans among them no longer seemed out of place or lesser. When they reached the assembly chamber, Olivia was struck by how different it looked from the hierarchical council room of the past. Instead of tiered platforms signifying status, representatives sat in a circular arrangement, each position equal. Admiral Martinez called out the Andraxian representative as they entered. Will you share your assessment of the joint fleet progress? Olivia presented her report to the attentive assembly. Where once humans had been dismissed, now their military expertise was actively sought. As she spoke about the new defensive strategies, she noticed several representatives taking detailed notes. After the session concluded with the unanimous approval of expanded colonization rights for all member species, Daniel and Olivia walked to a small reception area overlooking the vast space dock. Sometimes I still can't believe how much has changed, Olivia said, watching workers from various species collaborating on a new vessel of mixed technology. The Xultorians did us a favor, Daniel replied. Their attack forced everyone to recognize that different approaches have value. No single species has all the answers. Patricia Wells, now Fleet Engineering Director, joined them with a datapad. The new hybrid destroyer designs are ready for review, Admiral. We've incorporated Andraxian energy-focusing systems with our kinetic delivery mechanisms. Weapons that use both principles. Olivia asked, examining the schematics. Patricia nodded. Energy-accelerated kinetic projectiles. Neither technology alone could achieve what they do together. As the three humans discussed the new designs, an aged Veltran approached them, its feathered crest rising in what they now recognized as respect. Your people have taught us much, the Veltran said through its translator. Not just about weapons, but about seeing beyond our assumptions. Daniel smiled. We've learned as much from you. There is an old saying among my people, the Veltran continued. Knowledge comes not from those who think alike, but from those who think differently. We have a similar saying on Earth, Olivia replied. Sometimes the simplest solution is the most effective.